guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy Manifestation Wednesday. Before we get started into this video, I just want to apologize for the noise. My neighbor is actually moving right now and today is Wednesday, so I have to film this whether there's noise or not in order to get the video up. So excuse the noise. I'll try my best not to talk while they're moving, but this is as good as it's gonna get. Today is going to be the last Manifestation Wednesday for the year. I will be throwing, hold on. Wow. I will be doing Vlogmas this year. I'll be daily vlogging every single day up until Christmas. So December, there's going to be a video every single day of December. And then once the new year starts, I'll go ahead and start Manifestation Wednesday videos again. I will be throwing Manifestation Wednesday video ideas and concepts into the vlogs. So there will be law of attraction content in the vlogs. That said, I'm going to go ahead and start the video, noise and all. Today's video is going to be kind of a inspiration based on a book that I was reading. I read Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. I honestly was not a fan of the book just because it was really intense science book and it was really hard for me to understand. But the very last chapter talked about like the universe and like the ego and like the universe perspective, and I really resonated with that last chapter. And something that Neil deGrasse Tyson actually mentioned was the concept or the idea of ego softeners, and it like really spoke to me. You guys know the ego. The ego is yourself that society has put on you, like your label and almost your crutch and a way to give yourself excuses and to do certain things and labeling yourself and judging other people and all that stuff. So the ego is a whole separate concept that if you guys aren't familiar with, I really highly recommend watching my video on the ego. But if you guys are familiar with egos, there is a thing called ego softeners where like you are given a sort of like question or concept that is so thought-provoking that it kind of makes you feel not as big as you are and make your problems not seem as big as they are, in a sense that like it helps you lose your ego and get almost connected with like the universe and your true self and not make things feel so egoic in your perspective, if that makes any sense. And just things to think about that, like when you take a step back, you feel like you have lost your ego, like your ego has softened and you kind of have like created this spark of universal perspective. It's kind of hard to explain, so I'm gonna go ahead and just jump into it. I have a whole bunch of these listed and I'll probably be reading a lot of these off the paper, so excuse the fact that I'm not looking at you. The one that I came across in Neil deGrasse Tyson's Astrophysics for People in a Hurry was something that I actually tweeted out to you guys. So if you guys are following me on Twitter, you probably have already come across this quote. But it says the four most common elements in the universe are hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen. These are also the four most common elements of life on Earth. We do not simply live in the universe lives within us. So if you think about ourselves in that perspective, like we are literally just stardust, like we're hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, nitrogen. That's what the universe is made up of. We aren't as big as we kind of make ourselves out to be. So when we have problems or your life just kind of gets crazy and you create this huge like stressing perspective of what's going on in your life, what you're going through, you kind of play victim and you blame yourself for situations and you make life seem like it's like this huge big deal. And you think about, you know, we're only literally just hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen. It kind of takes you back and you're just like, huh, like not that big of a deal, you know? Like that's kind of what an ego softener is. It just makes you feel like almost connected with the universe and like your pure self and like life, and make it not seem as big of a problem that your ego seems to give you the idea of like what life is. So something to play off of that one is we are one with the rest of nature, fitting neither above or below but within. There's as many atoms in a single molecule of your DNA as there are stars in the typical galaxy. We are, each of us, all a little universe. Think about it. Like, what if we are like little molecules in like another person and that's like what the universe is? I don't know, it's just like weird to think about. It's just, it takes you back and you just have to sit there and think. These are very thought-provoking concepts. Something else that I came across, it says, we are the cosmos made conscious. And then through that, I found another quote, through our eyes, the universe is perceiving itself. Through our ears, the universe is listening. We are the witnesses through which the universe becomes conscious of its glory, of its magnificence. Wow. Yeah, that's so crazy. I was like writing this whole video down. I have so many more to share with you guys, and I remember like just looking outside and like looking at the clouds and the water and the grass, and I was just like, the universe is such a beautiful place. We are part of that. We are just literally consciousness. What if we are the universe trying to explain itself to itself? Like, what is consciousness? Like, it's so interesting to me. Am I the only one, or do you guys find these super like aha moments? Like, you guys are just like, wow. Or am I just going crazy? The world does not revolve around you. That's an immature view. That's what children think, and why their world and problems seem so big. So you think about being a kid and everything is so new and interesting, and your mom takes care of you, you have friends, you have your life, and you have that perspective of the world is your world. This is your world because you aren't aware of other people's problems. You aren't aware of other worldly problems. You're not really understanding or even able to grasp that kind of perspective when you're a kid. So that's a very immature way to view the world. This is not your world. Like, you are just part of everything. We are all one. We are all part of everything. When you drop your ego and you lose that mentality, you realize that your problems aren't all that big or stressing, and it creates an ease and simplicity in your day-to-day life. Expand your perspective and your problems shrink. Something else that I came across was like understanding other people's life stories. I was like at my Thanksgiving dinner, and I remember like looking around, and I know my family's stories, whether they think I know it or not. I know a lot of their stories and like how they grew up and things that have happened to them in the past, and like looking at everyone and kind of going through their, you know, childhood, their adolescence, their teenage years, their first marriages, second marriages, children, like all their life, and like just looking at them, I was like going by each family member and kind of just looking at everyone's life and how different everyone's stories is, and how that has kind of customize them into who they are and reasons why they are a certain way and all this stuff. And it was just like, again, tweeted, I was like, everyone has a story. And when you look at people for like their stories and know that they have like that kind of perspective of like, that's my life, that's what happened, that's their experiences of this earth and this life, and your life is not the only one. Like, we all have these crazy stories that are ultimately invisible to other people, and it's crazy because you think that the world revolves around you because everything that you see is through your perspective, but every single person has what you're thinking and has what you're feeling. Everyone has a perspective. Everyone has a childhood. Everyone has a parent. Everyone has experiences that have molded them into who they are. And when you look at people like that, instead of like just seeing the life that is around you as your life, it makes you understanding of other people, and it does help you drop your ego and helps you be able to accept other people for who they are and appreciate them for who they are, but also understand them when they are wrong or when you see them as wrong. That's a big one that I like really enjoy. Another one is, we are simply participants in a great cosmic chain of being. Life does not revolve around us. We are revolving with it. We are all part of this whole universe, like cosmically thinking, not like, oh, the universe like God. I'm thinking about like the actual universe. Like, we are just all parts of it. Oh my God, it's just weird to think about what came before the Big Bang. Recently also learned about the Big Bang through the book that I read, and basically it's like the start of the universe, the start of everything. And it was like an explosion of a singularity, which is a very small, hot, dense superforce, whatever that means. But I understand that there was an explosion, and very rapidly things started expanding into the universe. And does that mean like the universe is ever expanding, like it doesn't ever end? That's another question that's just like, what? If you think about it, and if that really did happen, and that's how the universe came to be, what the hell was before that? Like, there's no black, there's no white, it wasn't anything. It was just like nothing. Like, I don't understand that. And like, why did it happen? Somehow I think like, what if someone put it into play, like some other being put this into play to create something? Like, there was another quote that I came across that was like, we are all petri dishes of like bacteria growing. Like, what if someone has us in a little petri dish and sees how fast it's expanding? Does that make sense? Like, which kind of correlates to another one that I found, which was about the simulation theory. Elon Musk talked about this, I'm pretty sure with Joe Rogan. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. The simulation theory I actually found out about when I was listening to David Dobrik's podcast. He talked about it and I was like, wow. Basically, the simulation theory is that we are part of an artificial simulation. Like, our reality is really a computerized simulation that we kind of perceive as to be reality, but we don't really know. It's really just a simulation. This is what Elon Musk said. He said 40 years ago we had a Pong, which I don't even know what that is, 2 rectangles and a dot. And then 40 years later, we have 3D simulations, people playing like with other millions of people simultaneously, improves every single year. So soon, virtual reality and augmented reality assume the same improvement. Games will become indistinguishable from reality. Like, when you are on your virtual reality, like, you can kind of see how far we've come. We've come very far in the realm of technology, and if it were to improve at the same rate that it's improving now, which I feel like we put a lot of research and effort into technology nowadays, like, I'm going to assume it's going to improve at least half of that. What if they created some sort of virtual reality or, you know, simulation that eventually we can start feeling, we can start tasting, we can start doing all this stuff, and like eventually we don't know the difference between reality, like real reality, versus the simulation. And what if we are now living in a simulated world and we just don't know the difference between what's real and what's not? And again, you're just like, my mind goes like, what the hell? I can sit here and think about this all day. Like, it's crazy. He also said, the absence of any noticeable life may be an argument in favor of us being in a simulation. Like when you're playing an adventure game and you can see the stars in the background, but you can't ever get there. It's not a simulation, then maybe we're in a lab and there's some advanced alien civilization that's just watching how we develop out of curiosity, like mold in a petri dish. That's the one that I was just talking about. If you look at our current technology level, something strange has to happen to civilizations, and I mean strange in a bad way. And it could be that there's a whole lot of dead one planet civilizations. Elon Musk is just like another mind in itself. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. I believe personally that we are separate from our physical body. I think after reading Life After Life, which you guys have heard me talk about multiple different times, there's obviously some other soul in us that is separated at the time of our deaths. It's been like researched. If you guys are any way interested in like what happens after you die, there's been studies done of hundreds of different people from all over the world who've never met each other that have had these same experiences after they have died and have been like revived back to life. I will leave that book linked down below. It's the most life-changing book I've ever read. Why are we put into this human experience? Are we here to learn something? Are we here to experience something, to almost research something? Like, and where do we, like, that's another one. When you think about yourself as like a human being, your ego is at play. Like, my name is Renee, I'm a Gemini, my mom is Rebecca, my dad is Steven. Like, all these different things is like your ego. That's not truly who I am. Like, the real me is the person that's behind all of these thoughts and thinking that have been customized based on my society, based on my culture, based on my life, based on what I've been given. The moment that you come out of your mother, that's like your purest of who you truly are. And then once things start like hitting you, that's like feeding your ego and kind of creating the ego. It's like when you meditate, that's like your true self. It's like when you've kind of just like been still and been quiet and you just feel like bliss and love. It's like your soul, your spirit, your, you know, your being. That's who you truly are. And then when you die, a lot of these people have like separated from their physical bodies and have experienced certain things that cannot be explained in the human language. It just makes me think. And then here's another one. What's at the bottom of the ocean? 95% of the ocean is unexplored. That's crazy. Like, what else is down there? What if there's like a whole nother society or something? Like, we don't know what's down there. What if, like, I don't know. It's just weird. What if there's like another sort of like black hole down there or something that we can like transport to a different world or something? I don't really believe in that, but like, I don't know what to believe. I was looking at what's the deepest fish in the ocean, and they found a fish with a transparent head. It's called a barrel eye. The things on the top of his eyes looks like eyes, but those aren't eyes. Those are actually like nostrils, and then the eyes are inside the head and they move, and you can see through his head or her head, if they even have a gender. I don't know. and it's weird. Like, what else is down there? And the other day I came across a freaking goat that was like the weirdest looking goat ever, and they're like, what is this animal? And I thought it was like a joke. I thought it was like a deformed goat, but that was like an actual species of a goat. It's just weird. Another book that I read was Sapiens, and it was talking about like the larger animals that have gone extinct, such as like mammoths and stuff, but they had like large armadillos, large sloths, like all these different like super big species that have gone extinct. And it's like, what was before us? Like obviously dinosaurs, what's gonna come after us? Like, it's just weird. It makes your world not so like as big as you think it is. And it's like, we're literally here for like a period, like a dot. And then, as morbid as it sounds, we're gonna be gone. And then there's another one that I read, Through Sacred Powers. Very ego softening. This is in Sacred Powers. It says, the energy of the universe is resting in your soul. We are beings of dynamic energetic exchange. The wind becomes our breath, which becomes oxygen that nourishes the blood flowing through our cells, that triggers chemicals that impact your nerves, which spark electric impulses that move your eyeballs and let you read these words. And then you exhale, releasing carbon dioxide into the world, nourishing plants and trees that soak up water from the earth and the sky. And each moment, the cycle continues through every single cell on the planet, effortlessly allowing nourishment to flow into them, in turn generously offering back out what they do not need. This divine life force flows through everything, leaving magnificent transformation in its wake. The most fundamental law of nature is that energy cannot be created or destroyed. And every millisecond, you and me and the whole planet are simply continuing a flow of cosmic energy that begins billions of years ago. Our entire existence is in this lifetime to be built on the premise of a never-ending energy exchange, which has been known as the divine principle of infinite flow. It ripples through everything in every moment without beginning or end. It ripples through me and through you. It's rippling right now. It was never born and never died. It is a pure, unbounded circulation. It's literally like you are breathing the universe and the universe is breathing through you. Again, like, just, it's crazy. We are part of this huge universe. We are not the only thing in existence, and sometimes when life gets to us and our ego takes control and things become a little bit overwhelming, we almost feed our ego through different situations that life gives us, and we give ourselves, we create this whole world that's not even really that big of a deal and not even true. Nothing seems that big of a deal anymore, and nothing seems to really matter, in a good way, not in like a I don't give a, I'm not gonna live my life, but in a, it's almost like a peaceful way that you're just like, everything is as it is, and it's like, we are here as one, we are part of this universe, we are the universe. It's just very ego softening. Ego softeners, they're really cool. So if you guys have any ego softeners that you guys want to share that just make you kind of see life through like a universal perspective like that, definitely pop them down below. That would be so good. I love things like this. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. There will be a video on Friday, and then starting December 1st, we are officially going into Vlogmas. I will not be putting out a vlog on December 1st, but there will be a video on December 1st. Starting the 2nd of December, that'll be my first vlog for December 1st. Does that make sense? So, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you for watching. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys all in a future video. Bye, guys.